Hello, and thanks for joining us for today's Unitrends Tech Demo with a focus on ransomware and WannaCry. My name is Kevin Collins from Unitrends, and I've got Mo El-Shafi with me. He's the Director of Sales Engineering, and he'll be taking us through the presentation today. And don't forget, one lucky attendee will be walking away with a $500 Amazon gift card. We'll contact the winner via email after the demo. But before we get started, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. This session will be recorded, and after the event, you'll receive an email with a link to the on-demand version of the demo. We'll also highlight the $500 Amazon gift card winner in that email as well. I would also encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. You can do so by typing them into the Q&A box in the bottom right of the player. We'll answer your questions at the end of the session. At this point, I'll turn it over to Mo. Enjoy the presentation, and Mo, take it away.
Thanks, Kevin. Just doing a sound test. Can you hear me okay?
Can hear you fine.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody, for joining. My name is Mo. I do run the pre-sales organization at Unitrends. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Appreciate your time. Obviously, everybody's here because of the concerns with some of the threats that we're seeing out in today's world. And just to remind everybody why we're here today, ransomware is becoming a #1 threat to your organization's vision and missions. This is a threat that is wreaking a lot of havoc in organizations' the second most prized aspect of business, and that is your data. We're also here today to talk about how Unitrends offers some innovative and unique ransomware capabilities that traditionally have not been expected out of a data protection and business continuity solution like Unitrends. So we're excited to talk about and discuss some of the innovations that we're doing on that front. And we're also here to talk about how you can help yourself and how you can ensure that you are most defended against such threats and attacks. And for those who are unaware and looking for this to be more of an educational and giving background on what ransomware is. Ransomware is malicious software designed to block access to computer systems until a sum of money is paid, basically. It's in the name. It's spread through social engineering. If you can think of it as a trickery. With WannaCry, now we're starting to see some warm aspects into how this spreads, exploiting some of the vulnerabilities in some flavors of the Windows operating systems. That was done through stolen NSA exploits, which was made publicly available through the shadow broker dump, exploiting the SMB vulnerability in Windows. And we'll talk about how you can ensure that you're protected against that, so that you can prevent that from the onset, but also what to do if you were infected. What is a worm? Some of you may be wondering. It's a standard malware computer program that replicates itself pretty much like wildfire, looking for vulnerabilities in other systems on the network to spread from one computer to another. Basically, that's what contributed to the wild spread that WannaCry was able to accomplish. And if you're wondering what WannaCry is, it's another variant, another type of ransomware that has impacted a variety of Windows-based operating systems that, we'll take a look at the patch that Microsoft put online to outline what those operating systems are and how to go about making sure they're patched to make sure that you're well protected from the onset. And then we'd like to think that Unitrends is one of the best defense mechanisms that you can have against such threats once infected. So data is becoming more and more important to protect, more and more of a challenge to protect with these threats looming, and a lot of innovation is being put into these types of threats. Obviously, we have cyber threats, we have natural disasters, we have exponential growth of data and systems that we're managing, but we're not seeing the same trajectory and growth of IT admins that are managing all of these different aspects. And today we're going to talk about how, a backup system like Unitrends, with all the innovation that we've done to our system, can help you make sure that you're covered on that front. So ransomware attacks primarily 95% Windows. majority. There's some Mac vulnerabilities reported. There's a large sums of people that are getting infected every day. My wife has actually been infected with her home machine. It was very cleverly put together. An email, usually it's phishing, you know how it's spread. An email came from a coworker. It looked legit with an attachment of a spreadsheet they use in their accounting department on a daily basis, and not thinking much of it, opened that attachment, and it basically took over the entire computer, including all the files that are within. So make sure that when you get emails and attachments or clicking on executables that you are 100% sure of the origin of this information and it's from a trusted person. But what this tells us is that security systems are not enough, right? Because when you're dealing with ransomware with something like WannaCry, if you get infected, you might as well start crying, because if you don't have the defense mechanisms in place, it's a bad day. You're not able to get to your data. Looking at something like a WannaCry, what it looks like is a pop-up will take over your screen. A timer will be counting down the time until you make the payment. Reports of the ransomware anywhere from $300, and usually they're asked for in Bitcoins, all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. After 3 days, the fine, or the ransom, I should say, doubles. And then after 7 days, it's communicated that your data will be deleted if you don't pay it. So those who were infected, among some of the most organizations that you see in the headline in the UK, for example, multiple NHS organizations, around 16 plus, were actually shut down because of inability to access the data, and this was a tremendous impact, right? When we talk about healthcare, actually patients that were not of critical conditions were actually turned away until they could figure out what's going on. And the spread was all over the world, right? It was in Spain. Telecom communication companies were affected. FedEx here in the U.S. was also affected. Allegedly in Russia, the Ministry of Internal Affairs was also affected. Actually, Russia was one of the most affected organizations. And to show you the impact of this is a map of the impact in the world. And those of you who logged in early, I had the website up on the screen that showed a live coverage of systems that get infected. You can actually get this online. And it's pretty scary to see, the vulnerabilities and the impact of this if you're not taking the measures to ensure protection. So the threat is imminent. It's there. It's only getting more intelligent. It's only getting worse. And ransom is not the only concern for organizations, right? There's the timer that you're given until you pay the ransom. According to a recent third-party survey in which 618 individuals representing small businesses responded, that 51% of them experienced a ransomware attack. And those who were attacked were not only attacked once, but they were attacked multiple times. 84% of companies were required to pay the ransom within a time frame. Otherwise, they wouldn't get their data back. And on top of that, paying the ransom was only a portion of the cost that your organization can have. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a financial fallout beyond just paying the ransom. There's loss in business, loss in customers, downtime. So having a strategy from which to better prepare yourself is becoming more and more important there. So for WannaCry, Microsoft was able to put out a patch, MS-17-010, which closes the SMB vulnerability. So if you have an operating system that was listed in the Microsoft Bulletin of affected systems, make sure that you are running the patches and make sure that you're running the up-to-date patches to make sure that you are protected against these. And Microsoft did something unprecedented, and that is to roll out patches for operating systems that it long discontinued support for. So this gives you an idea of the impact that this had. What we're doing at Unitrends is raising awareness. We're educating our customers. Here's an example of our beginner's guide to ransomware. We've been putting out a lot of blogs and website material, ebooks to help educate folks on the threats of ransomware and how to go about protecting them, and that's what we hope to talk about today. The numbers are staggering. 60% of organizations hit by ransomware, and a lot are paying the ransomware. And just because you're paying the ransomware doesn't necessarily mean, just because you're paying the ransom doesn't mean you're going to get your data back, which is a scary part about this. So ensuring that you have a solid strategy for encountering or for countering ransomware becomes very important. And what a lot of backup solutions talk about is protect and recover. At Unitrends, we're going to talk about 5 ways backup kills ransomware. With Unitrends, we're going to focus on the middle portion here. These are things that, like I said earlier, traditionally backup solutions have not been associated with making sure the system that you're running your backups on is secure. The ongoing testing of your backups is also important, and the detection feature that we are putting out in our system is a new, refreshing aspect of data protection that we're going to talk about. We're excited to tell everybody about, and we'll show in the demo here in a little bit. But from the onset, what a lot of backup solutions, what a lot of experts in security will talk about, as a defense mechanism, is to have and follow the 3-2-1 rule. And Unitrends certainly recommends that you follow the 3-2-1 rule. In case you do get hit, that's basically having 3 copies of your data, 2 of which are sitting on 2 different media types, and preferably, at least 1 is copied off-site, either to cloud or to removable media, to where in case you do get hit with the next flavor that comes out, it seems like flavors are coming out just about, well, too often for comfort. It's preferable to have a copy of that go off-site. So how does Unitrends accomplish this? What we recommend is anything that would be worth crying over, make sure is protected. Unitrends can present itself, and it presents itself as a hardened Linux appliance that can be either a physical appliance. We have different models with different sizes that integrate hardware and software to protect your environment. We protect physical machines. We have agents that can speak over 200 operating systems, not just for file-level protection, but for bare metal as well. You're also able to protect virtualized instances in your environment. We can speak the hypervisor language with the likes of VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix. We're continuously coming out with new flavors of hypervisors to protect, and that also is protected by Unitrends. Any storage on SAN or NAS can also be protected through a LAN connection to your Unitrends appliance, which can be deployed either as a physical appliance, like we said, or we can also be deployed as a virtual appliance that you could deploy onto VMware, Hyper-V, or Citrix that also is a hardened Linux appliance. And the reason we chose to go through and architect our solution this way is, again, if you think about ransomware and what it aims to do and their best ROI is to first attack your defense lines, and that's your backup. So the new variants, the more clever variants, are not looking for just text files or Microsoft Office documents or PDFs. They're also out there looking at common backup extensions to tackle. And if your backup system is running on the same operating system that you're trying to protect, we've seen in a lot of our competitor forums that are running a software in Windows where ransomware not only attacked their production data, but it also attacked their backup data. And if that happens, that leaves you in a very vulnerable position, from which you can't recover. So we definitely don't want you to be in that position. Unitrends can then, to keep talking about the 3-2-1 rule, is also able to take your data and mobilize those backups to other locations, either to the Unitrends cloud, where we offer some pretty cool features in terms of, checking the box of let me get my data off-site, let me get it off-site in an automated fashion, set it and forget it, and then also let me do some pretty cool things with disaster preparedness, where if I'm unable to recover for whatever reason, or if, if something catastrophic, not just ransomware, but if something disastrous happens on premise, I'm able to spin things up in the cloud from which I can run from a secure location. And this secure location doesn't have to be the Unitrends cloud. It could be the likes of AWS. It could be Azure. It could be your own second site. So what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of flexibility here to help you get that 3-2-1 rule accomplished for your data. We also have the other mechanism by taking data off-site, and that is to achieve long-term archiving needs onto removable media, which could be disk, it could be tape, it could be NAS or SAN. So there's a lot of different flexibility options with which you can take that data off-site. Talk a little bit about, our cloud, what to look for from a cloud provider to help you achieve that defense. Is you want a hybrid cloud site to store your backups off-site, something that can speak to the different heterogeneous components within your environment, a secure location that's WAN optimized, helping you get the data off-site in a secure and quick fashion, something that helps you manage things in a 24/7 fashion, as well as seeding that data into the cloud. And for compliance offering and failover capabilities, again, we have the forever aspect of the cloud where we're able to help our customers accomplish that long-term retention needs. So not only are you putting a latest copy of your data in the cloud, but you're also able to achieve, long-term retention capabilities in the cloud so that you don't have to remember to take those tapes off-site on a daily basis or however frequently you're doing it. And then you can do the spin-up of those DRAS capabilities. And where things start is having that white glove service that Unitrends prides itself on offering. The onboarding procedures that we do for our cloud customers is truly a white glove service where we help our customers end-to-end map their environment, network configurations, boot orders, priorities, user-defined acceptance tests, and we basically help shape that disaster recovery plan in the cloud to help you recover. So multiple ways from which you can recover, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud or, whatever it is you need to help you achieve that 3-2-1 rule, where the nucleus of it, Unitrends, can be deployed again as that virtual software, virtual machine. Different editions are available to help the organizations achieve the different levels of need, or it could be the recovery series, physical appliances that we have, different models to fit different organization sizes and scale as needed, and then that's basically coupled with our disaster recovery and business continuity options with the cloud and DRAS. What's also cool about this is Unitrends offers a flavoring of recovery assurance, and we'll look at that here in the UI, which is a pretty unique capability for Unitrends in that what you're sending in the cloud, what you're protecting on-premise is continuously tested. Now, if you think about having to recover from a ransomware attack, you want to be alerted. You want to be able to restore from a last known good backup. And the known aspect of this is where Unitrends has a big play and a big differentiator in that we're doing certifications against the backups in an automated fashion that not only ensures systems can boot up, but systems can boot up in an operational manner by automating the testing, whether it's an application or a script that you want to run against the machine to ensure that your recoverability is performing exactly how you want to see it unfold. On top of that, Unitrends has secured itself and how it's deployed, again, in that hardened Linux backup appliance that is nowhere near as susceptible to attacks like WannaCry Ransomware or ransomware altogether, or any malware attacks, being that it is hardened Linux, not running a software that's on Windows that is, just as susceptible as everything else like we've seen. with the WannaCry, we're seeing now that there's a warm aspect that is included in the in the way that it attacks, self-propagating, again, spreading like wildfire. The problem is only getting worse in that it finds the vulnerabilities, exploits, and replicates, and a lot of times it's very slick where it can avoid detection. So testing these backups becomes very important. Having a certification against your backups ongoing with those different components becomes a very key driver and an answer to a wake-up call that WannaCry has brought up to the IT industry's attention, in that, oh my God, just because my system is hit with ransomware doesn't mean that my backups won't work. Ransomware oftentimes leaves system files up and running so that you can, so they can keep their program running and so that you can pay them. And so your backups will continue running on that system. And if you don't have the detection mechanisms in place and the certifications of backups where you don't know when your last good backup was, you're basically looking for a needle in a haystack trying to recover from what could be stacked backups of corrupted information. So having that testing and recovery assurance is very important in terms of helping you set boot priorities, helping you look for certain aspects of your data. Think about entered applications. Think about looking for certain scenarios and characteristics of your data that will ensure that you have integrity of your information with appropriate testing against the information within those machines, so that you can be as confident as can be in that I'm able to do the recoveries when needed from a known good standpoint. And that's exactly what we're differentiating ourselves with when it comes to doing things like virtual network assignments, network remodeling, re-IPing servers, giving you the ability to do a sandbox environment and test your information. So no longer is it enough to have a backup system that's just doing backup and recovery. That's great, but that continuity aspect of the solution becomes very important in a solution that can test your readiness for not just ransomware, but anything that may affect the environment, plus having that compliance reporting capability that shows you recovery point actuals, recovery time actuals, not only the objectives that you're trying to meet, but how well are you able to meet those and be ready for such threats. We also talked about the detection aspect that Unitrends has introduced, and that is where Unitrends is now using the predictive analytic engine that we've included in our software, for those of you who are familiar, in version 9.2. And that is where we use an aspect of machine learning in our systems now that learn what is normal for your environment, system by system, whether it's a desktop, a server, a VM, an application, and knowing what is a normal change rate for those environments, a mechanism used by some security softwares, and folks are usually asking us, is Unitrends becoming a security company rather than a backup company? And the answer is, we're doing whatever is needed to help IT administrators be as ready as possible to detect threats, to make sure that you're not, again, the last to know in case your security system fails you. So backup from Unitrends could be yet another weapon in your arsenal to help you be more ready for this. So it learns the change rates in the environment, what is normal on a per machine basis, and what does ransomware do? It encrypts your files, which will cause higher than normal change rates for those machines infected, and it will alert you on that. This is a quote from a CIO of one of our customers that thought it was a game changer, where Unitrends not only is hardened against ransomware, we talked about the secure, it's also able to detect, it's also able to test, and it was looked at as a complete package that helped them be more and more ready for these threats and attacks. Excuse me. So in summary, our vision at Unitrends is a world in which IT infrastructure is as reliable as the sunrise, right? We're putting together a solution to our customers that helps them recover from whatever it is. The threats are stacking against the IT administrator, and so we want Unitrends to be looked at as another tool that helps you basically sleep better at night, knowing that your data is protected. We also want to make sure that you never have to pay for ransom. Again, backup is the best mechanism against that, and we want to make sure that your strategy with that is that you can protect all of your systems, and then not just critical data, but making sure that you can very well copy, keep the rule of thumb here, the 3-2-1, taking data off-site, making sure that your backup solution is not something in the back of your mind that is something that could get affected, right? We talked about hardening our system on Linux and making sure that it is well protected against that, not something that is just as susceptible as the data you're trying to protect, which, you know, puts your strategy at risk altogether. Testing is, again, something that will make IT administrators more productive. You're not sitting there doing tests on your environment over and over again manually. This can automate that for you and do it more efficiently because it's checking for things that traditionally were not thought of through our testing capabilities, and we'll see that here in the UI in a little bit. And then the detection, obviously, the machine learning aspect, the predictive analytics that identifies these changes happening to the environment and alerting you. And then last but not least, why do we do backup? So that we can recover. So we're building a solution that can use some of the instant recovery capabilities that are innovative, that can handle not just your virtualized instances, but your physical environments as well for Windows and VMware and Hyper-V, not just files and folders, but everything that's in your environment, whether you want to do that locally or in the cloud with some of the DRaaS capabilities that we have. Unitrends is putting a lot of innovation into this defense line, and we're very proud of the fact that, for those of you familiar with Gartner, to be the only solution that's recognized in all three major Gartner publications for the Backup Magic Quadrant, for DRaaS, and ITRO Market Guide from Gartner. With that said, I am going to also ask that you take a look at our website and give Unitrends a test drive. We have a download available, a 30-day trial that's available on our website. This downloads the virtual appliances that you can run in your environment and give it a whirl and give it a test drive. From this point, I'd like to go ahead and switch over to the UI, where we can take a look at the solution at more in depth. And the appliance from Unitrends can be deployed either, like we said, as a physical machine or a VM, and I'll show you a couple of examples here of how this can be deployed. When we talk about a physical appliance, I guess a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let me show you here a picture of one of our racks. We have different appliance models here. I'm just logging into my VMware environment to show you the virtual appliance aspect of it. I chose my VMware environment. This is a Unitrends Enterprise Backup virtual appliance. At the console here, you can see it's deployed. It's in VMware. Basically, the virtual appliance is something that allows you to utilize infrastructure that already exists in terms of virtualization and storage. You deploy it. This is something, again, you can download off the website now. You assign it an IP address, and you can see the UI for it right here. Otherwise, the other flavoring of the appliance is the hardware. We're looking at the 824 here at the top of the rack, and that's the other tab that you see here that runs the appliance. As far as the UI goes, they're very similar. Actually, it's exactly the same. The dashboard tile shows you what is protected, what isn't protected in the environment. The testing and recovery assurance has its own tile as well that allows you to see whether or not you're meeting RTO and RPO compliance. Measures against those, allows you to test those backups continuously into test networks and utilizing that instant recovery capability as well. So speeds and feeds are available from your dashboard. Tiles on the left-hand side of the screen are where you control everything. You can see active jobs, what's completed, what isn't. Under the Protect here, you can get a glimpse into your environment and what is and isn't protected, whether it's physical servers, whether it's virtual machines, and see how you're doing in terms of your protection. Under the Configure tab is where you're acquainting Unitrends with that environment you want to protect. And we said you want to protect everything. So very straightforward, where you can go in here and add a virtual machine environment that you want to protect, give it the credentials, and it will log in and show you whether it's Hyper-V or VMware or Citrix, virtual machines that you want to see protected. If it's a physical server you're trying to add, you just basically go to Asset, and you can see those listed here. We also protect NAS as well as Cisco UCS Manager, as you see here. So under Assets, you could just give the name, credentials, and that will handle things like agent upgrades and pushing updates for if you're going to use software on those physical machines. On virtual machines, you don't have to use any software. It automatically pulls the list of VMs, speaking to the hypervisor APIs for protection to back those machines up. As far as the appliance configurations go, you can see if updates are available. You can also list your backup targets. You can have multiple targets from which to choose to copy your data to again, achieve that 3-2-1 rule of making sure your backup is not just sitting in one place and it's going somewhere else. You also, if you're going to go to some of our cloud options, you can add schedules for throttling that bandwidth, how much of it to use on what days of the week, from what time to what time. So this allows you to shape your bandwidth in terms of how you take your backups. Now, setting up the jobs and setting up yourself for success in terms of productivity and protection is done under what we call SLA policies that help you define and meet that agreement between business units and IT, and ensuring that you're defining those SLAs that need to be met, and then building a strategy to help you meet that. So when you create a policy in one place, and you can see how intuitive this is, and allowing you to choose what you want to protect, how you want to protect it, and at what frequency in terms of the RPOs, when does the backup start, where does it go after it's performed. So it's completely automating the whole life cycle of your backup rather than using traditional methods that leave you going in 10 different directions, trying to configure this and tweak dial that. This all happens in one step that then puts you in a position where you can create those certification processes that can look at those backups you just created, tell it what machines you're most interested in testing, and then it can help you build that testing strategy by building profiles that help you define those RPOs and RTOs that you're trying to meet, help you identify where does testing happen, where does an actual failover happen from my system. Do I want to track how well I'm able to meet those SLAs and show that in my main reporting page in the dashboard there, so that I can rest assured that my system can recover should I be hit with something like a WannaCry. So you can see how this all ties together. I can also do some cool things with scheduling these tests. So if I don't want to do it manually, I can. I want to schedule it, I can do it, or if I want to do it on demand, I can do that as well. So a lot of flexibility is built into the system to help you better prepare for these moments that a lot of times catch IT administrators off guard. So in here, I can go into a profile and edit the settings for it, where I can set up some really cool things in terms of boot priorities for systems. I can re-architect how the machine comes up in terms of CPU and memory. I can re-IP servers. I can also run on-demand tests, and this is what's really cool, where it doesn't only make sure that the machine comes up, but you can see here the out-of-the-box tests that are available to allow you to test these applications and how well they recover in these tests that you automate and run ongoing. When we talk about from a ransomware, you're with Unitrends able to recover from a known good backup, we're not just saying that. You have the ability to test these things right here. Think about ransomware. What does it do? It encrypts files. So you can have your own scripts that test whether files are encrypted, and depending on the exit code, will pass or fail these certification tests that you run. And then you can simply have those reports emailed to you where you can get those compliance reports that tell you how ready you are for these types of attacks. So this is where this all comes together. And these reports can be exported to PDFs or CSVs. There's a whole bunch of different reporting categories, by the way, on the system that tell you how well you're utilizing storage, how is it deduping, are you doing backup copies, are you following the 3-2-1 rule, what is your history of backups looking like, so that you can tie it all together into reports that you can put on the boss's desk. You're getting audited. You need to make sure that you're following best practices. All that comes together here to help you do this. And what is it doing in the background? It's using our call it secret sauce for recovering data. If I look at my backup catalog here and go to all the machines I'm protecting, I can look at the filters that I have available to me to help me easily and quickly identify the jobs that I need to recover from if I just want to do it manually. And I could see backups and restore points. What is an agent-based backup for physical machines? Do I have any virtual machine snapshots? You can see where we help you be more efficient with doing incrementals, synthetic fulls. So all the bells and whistles that you come to expect from a backup solution come here and tie it all together to help you not only back up and recover, but be certified as well, where you can also filter for those backups that are now in the cloud. Again, I keep saying it, 3-2-1 rule, making sure one of your backups is off-site, but also making sure that it's easily accessible, whether it's on-premise or in the cloud. If you look at my purple backups here, these are backups that I have in the cloud from which I can recover so that I'm not waiting for something like my removable media to come from an off-site location somewhere and then spending hours or days trying to recover from that and making sure that I can easily recover from all this together. So hopefully this gives you a glimpse into how this can help you be more prepared for such attacks as a WannaCry or ransomware altogether, to restore the simplest things as simple as a file to a mailbox recovery from Exchange. If you're running that, we also have capabilities to protect your Exchange if it's running in Office 365, whether it's on-premise or you have a multi-location organization. This can definitely help you be more prepared for all those different threats. With that said, I want to thank everybody for their time. We're a few minutes early. We promised it would take 45 minutes. At this point, Kevin will take questions and help folks answer any questions they may have.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mo. Great presentation. There's still time to ask questions. You can do so by typing them into the bottom right of the player, and we'll get to your question as soon as we can here. And as a reminder, this webinar was recorded. We'll be sending out a link in an email to the on-demand version so you can use it as a future resource. All right, let's get started here. First question is an easy one. What was the website for seeing the live stats on the spread of WannaCry?
I somehow knew that question was going to come up, and I'll answer it by bringing it up on the screen right here. So if you want to take a screenshot of it, please feel free to.
Okay, the next one is, do you know if Windows 7 Premium has the patch to protect it from the WannaCry cyber attack?
I believe so, yes. And the best place to check for that is by going directly to the source. So if you go look at the Microsoft patch, you can check all the different operating systems. That's the MS17-010. So if you haven't applied this patch or haven't upgraded, all of your Windows updates for the operating systems listed here, please make sure you go through that or contact your Microsoft Trusted Advisor.
Okay. Next question is there ever a Linux variant of ransomware? And if so, how does that protect in terms of the backup?
We have heard of a few. There are, again, far, far less than the Windows variants, but being a hardened Linux appliance from Unitrends means we've only opened the ports necessary to run the backup operations as well as replication operations from either site to site or site to cloud. So we being on Linux, even though there are some that hit Linux, and I can't even name them. It's been a while, and you can also Google search, any ransomware variants that hit Linux. But being that we're locked down for whatever operations we need, further fortifies our system against these threats. Great question.
And as probably a question that goes hand in hand, can you talk a little bit more about how you actually search and detect the ransomware?
So it's an under the hood capability, but basically when, and I've staged one actually for you here, when a system is hit that is a possible ransomware victim, the system will flag that, and it will shoot out an alert like this one that will tell you that this system was infected. Possibly. So we will flag higher than normal change rates on those machines. And as you can see in the message there, it tells you that this very well could be a ransomware attack, and make sure that you go out there and investigate what it is. We also give you a link to knowledge base articles. We actually do this throughout the UI. So when something doesn't go as expected with Unitrends, you always have a knowledge base article that can direct you into the right direction. And we have a pretty comprehensive knowledge base article here that talks about how ransomware works, how the predictive analytic engine works, and what to do about what you're seeing, and how to change the threshold that calculates how a ransomware threat could be imminent. So if you wanted to test this, a couple ways that you could do this. This is a common question that we get. You can, there's a lot of free software out there that helps you encrypt certain files, or you can put dummy files on a server, encrypt them, then run another backup, and you'll see that the alert gets flagged. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. Next question is, I guess, can the Unitrends cloud get hit by ransomware? And if so, how does that work with the backups?
The Unitrends cloud does not. It's a highly secured location that has basically no. If a backup was if a server was hit with ransomware and it was backed up and we detected it, we're just going to detect it. So the backup could be replicated, but the ransomware in the backup format does not infiltrate or replicate itself, obviously, because of the proprietary way in which we save those backups. But we will flag it, and we will give you the ability to restore from the last known good backup. With our DRAS capabilities, again, we're doing continuous testing of the data that gets replicated to the Unitrends cloud with our DRAS premium services. And if that is encountered, our cloud is our cloud, which is a nice thing, and it's a completely managed service where we alert the customer that there's potential threats that are happening in their systems, because we would have the compliance testing that runs against those replicated backups. Another great question.
All right. Here's another question. Does your product use Samba? If so, have you addressed the current Samba vulnerability that was released?
Samba is used for simple file sharing, and the recent vulnerability was addressed a few revisions behind.
Okay. The next question is.
But keep in mind on that point, the Samba share use is not applicable to the main backup operations that we do. So what goes in that share does not anywhere affect what goes into the backup repository.
Okay. The next question is, were you showing the current version of the software? If so, what version is it, or is this a beta version?
We're showing version 10. And this version is this is 9.2. This is 10. There are some minor changes that are available in 10, and 10 will be coming out at the end of June as an announcement to everybody. And the ransomware detection capabilities and everything we talked about there is available in 9.2, which is the current GA version.
All right. Is there a best practice guide that covers the SLA testing reporting portion of what you discussed today?
I'm sorry, one more time, Kevin?
Is there a best practice guide that covers the SLA testing / reporting portion of what you covered today?
Yes, that will all be coming out when version 10 comes out in our admin guides and white papers.
Okay. Also, do you have an example of the proactive notification that is sent upon ransomware detection?
Yep, that's what we're showing on the screen right now. So this predictive analytic report, or alert, I should say, only comes up when a system encounters those anomalies that flag it.
All right. Is recovery assurance only available with the cloud?
Recovery assurance is available both for on-premise protection as well as in the cloud. So no, it's for both.
All right. And the next question is,
and that's an important point, because you definitely want that recovery assurance to help you, again, best way to recover from ransomware is to restore to a known good point in time, and that's what recovery assurance does for you on-premise as well as in the cloud.
All right. Next question is, where are Unitrends data centers located?
We are across the world. In North America, it stays in North America. We have locations as far out west as Colorado. We have some in the East Coast. We have some in the Midwest as well. For Canada, we have a Canadian data center. Canada data can't leave Canada. We also have data centers in Germany, UK, Asia Pac, Australia, throughout the world. And these are, again, not Unitrends hooking you up with third-party cloud providers. This is Unitrends real estate, if you want to think of it as far as cloud goes, that you're sending your data to. That is managed and implemented by Unitrends as well as our trusted partners.
All right. We'll get to one more question and then we'll wrap it up. We're running out of time here. The last question is, are there ever instances where the ransomware sits idle in the data? If so, how would you go about finding a clean version of the data to back up to?
So the answer is yes, that could happen. And this is where the active recovery assurance comes into play, where you can script your own tests to cover those type scenarios.
All right. Well, thank you, Mo. It was a great session, really good information. I want to thank everybody for joining us. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded, and you'll get an email with a link to the on-demand version after, as well as the announcement of the $500 Amazon gift card winner. We appreciate everybody's time today, and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.